for someone who does something that looks like what you do. I need a planner in Cincinnati. I need a photographer in Cincinnati. I need a DJ in Mason, right? I need a wedding dress in Dayton, Ohio. But do they need it from you? See, when they're looking for you, that's not SEO. They just don't use the yellow pages anymore. So they use Google. So somebody sent me this. A Club Cannon CO2 gun, you know, those shit on all CO2. Costs about $350 after I buy that many accessories that I would need. How do I figure out how much to charge the service to the customers? He's going about it all wrong. He's basing it upon its cost. Cost doesn't matter, the results matter. So I said to him, where does your price stand compared to other DJs? Because if your prices are higher, then your accessory price is going to be higher. Because your people are less sensitive to price. You want to charge based upon the value that the customer perceives. At the Photo Booth Expo one year, somebody came up to me and said, I'm looking at a mirror booth, you know, that looks like the magic mirror. And there's two of them. One of them was like $3,500, one of them was $10,000. They said, what should I buy? I said, well, I can't answer that. I said, I'll tell you this, though, whichever one you buy, charge the customers the same. Because they're paying for the results of a mirror booth. They're not paying for it based upon how much you paid for the booth. Now, if you decide to spend 3 times as much because it's fill in the blank, lighter, more durable, easier to carry, whatever it is, going to last you longer, that's fine. Just like one person buys a Mercedes, one person buys a Hyundai, right? They're both going to get you there. It's up to you to decide that. But you charge based upon the results the customer is going to get. Charge for the enhancements commensurate with your prices. If your prices are higher, your enhancements are higher. So I thought about an example. Somebody mentioned that I like bourbon. Many people mentioned that I like bourbon. Thank you to the folks across the river who indoctrinated me into that in 2015 by giving me a bottle of Buffalo Trace, signed by the master distiller. Still have the bottle. It is empty, has been for a while. I don't have trophies. I have empty bottles. So there's Woodford Reserve on my kitchen table. There's a Glencairn glass, if you're interested in the proper glass for drinking whiskey. Thank you very much. And it says it at the bottom. So how much is a serving of Woodford? Is it $12, $17, $25? Not a bottle. How much is it? What was the answer?
It depends on where you're at.
It depends upon where you're ordering it. I have paid all of those prices. Oh, believe me, it killed me to pay $25 when I know the bottle's $30, right? However, $12 is like, I don't know, TGI Fridays or something like that. $17 would be a mid-scale restaurant. And $25 was last year. I'm at a conference in Vegas, and friends said, hey, we're going to the sushi restaurant at the Palazzo, some celebrity sushi chef or whatever. I don't like to go on the strip to the dinner at those places because, yes, it's nice and fancy, but I'm paying twice as much, and I'm not impressed, right? I've been to nice restaurants. I don't need that. I have a rental car. We go off the strip, go someplace, and get real local stuff, right? But I'm at this restaurant where we're going to spend $100 plus per person. And that's why they're charging $25 for a serving, which you know in Vegas they serve by the fraction of an ounce. You know they're pouring it by a fraction of an ounce. But I paid $25. It killed me to do it. I was going to have bookers, but they wanted $60 for it. I was like, I can't. I just can't. I can't. But I had that because I wanted bourbon. I had a choice. I could have not had bourbon. I could have just had water or something, right? But no, I like bourbon with my dinner. That's my serving size. Better than Vegas. Not a lot better than Vegas, but better than Vegas. But see, it depends on where you order it, which is the same as you. If your prices are already higher, then your accessories should be higher. Your enhancements should be higher. He was asking how much he should charge for that without telling me where he was at pricing. So I can't answer that. So let's talk about discounting. Are you discounting your pricing, your packages on your A dates? Exactly. No. Why? Right. The next person will buy it. If they're price conscious, They shouldn't be choosing Saturday in wedding season. They should be choosing a Friday, Sunday. Anytime I get to talk to someone who's engaged, and I say, let me give you advice from all my years in the business, from my time at the Knot, from my time publishing wedding magazines, the two best ways to save on your wedding are to pick a different date and invite less people. Right? That's the ways to do it without sacrificing. Right? If you're trying to sell somebody a Friday at your menu, you tell them, can I give you a secret? Can I tell you a secret? The food tastes the same on Friday. The sun sets the same on that Friday as it does on that Saturday. And it sets for $1,000 less. Doesn't it? How many of you are married? Have you ever shown a wedding picture to someone? Your wedding picture to someone? Has anyone ever asked you what day of the week it was? In 40 years of marriage, no one has ever looked at our wedding picture and said, that's beautiful, what day of the week was that? They look at it and say, oh, you did have hair once. And Tom Selleck's mustache. Apparently he wants it back. So, you use discounting to encourage behavior that's not happening on its own. That's what I said earlier. If they're not doing something, we use discounting or added value, which is an equivalent of discounting, it's just reversing that, to encourage what's not happening on its own. Because if it's happening, why am I discounting? If they're buying it, why are we discounting? Look what happened to cars during COVID. It went from how much below sticker can you pay to how much above sticker are they charging, right? Look at that flip because of supply and demand. Just think about that. They were discounting before, and now it's more. My friend went in, she wanted a Range Rover. The dealer said, what you see is what we have. We don't know what we're getting. Look at the sticker and add $10,000. Yeah. Yeah. But again, $10,000 because it's a $100,000 vehicle. You couldn't put $10,000 on a $20,000 vehicle, right? But they can do that because supply and demand said, if you don't want it, somebody else is going to buy it. And to my surprise, she bought it. I wouldn't have done it, but she did. Not my money, her money. So when do you have pricing power? When do you have that kind of power that you can say, this is the price, take it or leave it? Not that way, but when you can say that. Every one of us has pricing power at some times. If you've ever taken an economics class, supply and demand says when the supply is low and the demand is high, you have pricing power. When it flips the other way and demand is low but supply is high, that's when we start discounting. After Christmas sales. We buy candy corn once a year, the day after Halloween, 50% off. I shouldn't be eating candy corn. My wife hates candy corn. I just want my fix once a year. I'm not paying full price for it. It is a family tradition. Right after Halloween, we go and we pay 50% off for candy corn, right? It's just the thing in our house, right? Because I don't have to buy it, ever. And if they didn't discount it, I probably wouldn't buy it. But it's just my, yeah, you know what, 50% off. I could use a little bit of sugar right now. Hit me. And I'm good. I'll make it last a few weeks. You know, a handful at a time, I'm good. I don't stick my face in the wall and work. I'm good. You have pricing power when they want your results. Not any results. Your results. Nobody else can give your results. Another podcast I did was, are your results really better, or are they just different? Think about that. Are your results going to be better for their wedding than someone else could do? Or are they just different than someone else would do? Right? We will never know if they're better, because nobody else is ever going to do that wedding. We will never be able to actually say that what you did is better than what somebody else could have done, because we'll never have that chance to see it. If we go back to my sci-fi world from before, and that wedding is happening in two parallel universes, and the only difference is you versus someone else who does like what you do, well, then we can tag. But we'll never know. What they have to perceive is that the results that you can provide are the ones they want, and they think that they're going to be better than somebody else can do. But the truth is, we'll never know. You'll never know if somebody else is going to give a speech like this better, because you're only getting this one. But that's perception, right? If they want the experiences that you provide, the experience of buying, the experience of shopping, the experience of before the wedding, the experience of at the wedding, the experience of after the wedding. If they want your experiences, they have to buy it from you. And you have pricing power because they want your experience. Not any experience, they want yours. When that group in Savannah said, we want Alan, they wanted the experiences that I can provide. When Ron said, let's do this, and I'm going to do this with Alan, he wanted me, right? And Chris and everybody else that's on this stage, he wanted us. Could have other people. If they want you, they have to pay your price. So can you raise your prices now? How many of you can raise your prices right now? Yeah. How many of you just did? Right now. Right now. The answer is, I can guarantee you that every one of you that did not raise your hand can raise your prices right now. And your customers will still say yes. I'm going to prove that to you right now. If you took your price and raised the total price, not per person, the total price that people are paying by $1, how many people would say no that are saying yes today? Nobody. So what I've just proven is that every one of you can raise your price. The question is how many of those dollars? Not can you do it, but how many of you do it? How many of you have raised your prices in the past and then regret you didn't do it sooner? Right? So let's play a little game. Should we spin the wheel? We'll spin the wheel and find out how much maybe you should raise your price. So let's spin the wheel. How many of you could raise the total price that your customers pay you by $100 and they'll still say yes? Okay. Spin again. Spin again. $300. Total price, total bottom line. $300, they're still going to say yes. Okay, all right. Spin again. $500. $500, total price, still going to say yes. Okay, and if some of them wouldn't say yes, somebody else would say yes instead because you're still in the range, right? Right. One more time. $1,000. Bottom line goes up by $1,000 and they're still going to say yes. Right? Why haven't you done this sooner? Well, you have. You're just going to do it again. Doug said he did it. All right, I've raised my prices recently. It is scary to raise your price until the first person says yes. And then it's not scary anymore. Every time you raised your prices, you had that little bit of nervousness. Is this good? Is this right? Right? You're new in business. You didn't know what to charge, right? You come up with a price, you're like, yeah, and then the first person says yes, and now you're like, is that too cheap? Yes, it is. You're new. It's too cheap. I guarantee it. That's the key, is the price is right to the customer if the customer sees the value in it. I told you my price is 5 times what it was in 2012. In 2013, I was walking in Washington, D.C. with a speaker friend of mine. I had just gotten a gig speaking at the first Wedding Wire World. And we're walking down the street, and we're saying, yeah, do you think we could ever get this much for speaking? Like, I got into this. Do you think we could ever get this much? My industry doesn't like to pay. They free speakers and all that. I don't like this. Yeah, I don't think I can do that either. My price today is 3 times what that number was. The number I didn't think I could get. Because the customers see the value. That's what's important. Whose wallet? Their wallet. So, how much more will your next couple or client value? Value, not price. How much will they value what you do? Will they value it by $50 more if you're a lower price service? Will they value it by 100 or 2 or 5 or 1,000 or how much more? You know, you raise your price and you raise your hand at 1,000, maybe that's not enough. Maybe the number should be more. Maybe not the average price, but maybe for some people it should be more. I raised my price because I wanted to work less. I raised my price because I didn't want to be away half the year. So my price is higher than it was in 2019. And in 2019, when I was away half the year, my price was already the highest it had been. And people kept saying yes. Those darn customers kept saying yes. No, I kept saying yes. Right, Doug? I said yes. I told them how much, and they said okay, and I said yes. And then I was away half the year. That was self-inflicted. That wasn't on them. That was on me. 2022 was not self-inflicted. That was just crazy stuff, right? But if you do that again to yourself, How does you do it? Every dollar you raise your price without giving them anything more is additional profit. If you've not read the book Profit First by Mike Michalowicz, read the book Profit First. New business, read the book Profit First. It's a great book. Just talks about how to think about profit differently. Short story, I have like 6 or 7 different bank accounts, and one of them is labeled tax, and one of them is labeled profit. And when my wife said that the refrigerator was going and she wanted to get a new one with a glass door and whatever, I said, how much is that? She told me, and I went to my bank account, labeled profit, and I said, oh my. Because the money was there. Money, real money. Not spreadsheet money, not QuickBooks money, like real money in the bank. Because it was a profit account. Are you discounting because your competitors do it? See, some people don't know how to sell, so they discount. They sell the discount. The fact that they're discounting. When I started with my wedding magazines, all the other magazines would discount for first-time advertisers. I didn't want to do that. So I tried not to do that, but it didn't work because everybody else did it, and that was the thing. So I raised my price. So when I discounted it, I got the number I wanted, and they got a discount, and that's really all it was, is the fact that they had to have a discount. So I raised the price to bring it down to them. I've spoken in India 3 times. It is cultural that you get a discount, right? It is cultural that you're going to get a discount. But I said to these 350 wedding photographers, when do you say no? What's the point where you won't discount anymore? See, here you're like, is it 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, right? There, is it 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, 7 days? Do you know when to say no, that this is your number? There was a wedding photographer in Houston. He was of Indian descent, and he said to me, his words, not mine, he said, I have 2 price lists, one for my people and one for everybody else. He said, because my people will not pay any price you tell them. They have to get a discount. So he has a price list that's higher. And he says, all right, I can do it for you for this, which is the price he's giving everybody else. And he gets his price because it's the game, right? I remember the first time I went to Dubai, I forgot something, socks or underwear or whatever, so I go to the mall,